This is the Power Element Podcast, episode 70. My name is Paul. I produce this podcast. I'm a journeyman lineman by trade. Our first in-studio guest of 2025 is Daniel Spencer. Daniel is a senior cable splicer here in Southern California. Daniel shares his incredible story of resiliency. Daniel opens up about the path he's on now, following his challenges. Such a great story. So proud to be able to share it with you guys. You might know Daniel on Instagram at Repsin Double Time. Daniel's completely transparent, does a great job of providing some insight into who he is on his Instagram. So check it out. All right, we'll get to the show, but first let me highlight a few of our promotional partners. First up, Milwaukee Tool. Since the company began in 1924, Milwaukee Tool has led the industry in developing innovative solutions that deliver increased productivity and unmatched durability for professional construction users. Head on over to MilwaukeeTool.com or on Instagram at MilwaukeeTool for the latest and greatest. Next up, Total Safety Supplies and Solutions. Total Safety Supplies and Solutions is your one-stop shop for all your job site tools, PPE, garments, rubber goods testing, and more. With locations spread across the United States, you can expedite or simplify your day-to-day needs with a vast assortment of trustworthy services and solutions. Visit TotalSafety.com. We are your preferred tooling, supplies, and service experts. All right, next up, High Voltage Industries, the biggest brand on Instagram showcasing all aspects of the high voltage industry. These guys have been working for nearly 10 years on showing the world what we do and how the industry gets it done every day. Check out their Instagram page at highvoltage_industries. And they have some of the best merch in the game at highvoltageindustries.com. Use promo code POWERELEMENT to get 10% off your order. Appreciate you guys over at High Voltage Industries. All right. Special thanks, Klein Tools, Working Athlete, Gel Co Eyewear. Use promo code POWERELEMENT for 15% off the checkout. And Buckingham Manufacturing. Daniel Sanchez, this is his music. Talented individual. I'll put his info in the show notes. All right, do me a favor. If you enjoy the show, make sure you guys are following the show on your favorite platform, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It means the world to me. Give us a follow, like it, and be sure to share the show. Helps out a bunch. All right, thank you. All right, last but not least, I want to thank the entire Sturgeon Election California workforce. Without you, this podcast would not be possible. All right, let's get to the show. The Power Element Podcast, episode 70. Daniel Spencer. Enjoy the show. There is no fast track, no easy button, no shortcut to self-discipline. But that's exactly why self-discipline is the best way to take control of your life again after an ambush. The hard part is embracing it. It's going to be uncomfortable, and you are going to have to get used to living in that discomfort if you want to get beyond surviving and make real change in your life. As we overcome crush adversity with leadership techniques of America's toughest warriors, New York Times bestseller Jason Redman. I want to ask our guest, Daniel Spencer, has the disciplines in your life made a real change?
Yeah, absolutely. They have to, One thing is Jason Redman talks about finding yourself on that X, and those life ambushes that come. when those live ambushes come, the only thing you're going to have to fall back on is your discipline. It just depends on your discipline, your fortitude, right? What you have left inside of you. Because when everything else fails, the only thing you have left is your spirit, right? And your discipline and your program. Definitely, man. Without discipline, I mean, we're just fumbling.
Absolutely.
You have to find a way to get back up, right? And that's discipline. Motivation will get you started, but discipline will keep you going.
Well said. And I didn't know I picked this book, and you actually met Jason Redmond. Kind of impactful, and you kind of like what he aligns with.
Very, man, very, very much so. He led Navy SEALs, and he was in an ambush, and he got shot the hell up, man. And that discipline, he found himself in that X, and his spirit got him through, man.
I think obviously in a war or just a scenario that war could lead you, that word ambush is kind of cool, but you can almost kind of relate it, and it can align with some of the life challenges you have. We're going to get into your story too. You can almost kind of refer that to being an ambush, right?
Absolutely, man. Even at the lowest levels, right? Everything will be going great, and you can have a life ambush driving down to work. You get in a car accident or something, and it might be insignificant, but it's definitely going to throw a wrench in your life.
So yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to get into this. All right, man. Let's find out who you are, man. Who's Daniel Spencer, man? What you got for us?
Daniel Spencer, yeah, man. Born and raised California. 42 years old. I've been in the power trade since 2001, so just over 20 years. Been married for just about the same amount of time, and got a daughter, a son, and been raising my niece for the last 2 or 3 years, man. All my kids are teenagers. It's
expensive, like we're talking about.
Yeah, it's expensive, man. But just like anything, it's all worth it.
There you go. Are you smiling not to cry, or?
No, man. Man, I'm blessed, bro.
That's good.
Blessed. Even with those life ambushes, those little problems that come, right? It's just a test. That's just one thing that I didn't ever realize. Like, I would always get like, shit happens, right? And it's just like, man, why me? Why me? Because it's supposed to happen to you, bro. This is a test.
For sure.
How are you gonna handle this? But yeah, man, I'm totally blessed, dude. Could be worse. That's what I tell my kids, right? We don't have it all, but we have more than others.
Yeah.
Could be worse, but it could be better. Whatever.
Absolutely. Who were some early mentors in your life? What was the relationship with your dad and your parents like?
My parents, dude, my parents were blue collar. My dad, he was shop manager. We grew up in the Northern California at first. I grew up in the Bay Area.
Shout out.
Yeah, man. And then my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She was always there, and dinners, breakfasts. And then one summer, man, I was 11 years old. It was just out of nowhere, right? Hey, we're getting divorced, right? Like, didn't see it coming. Totally shocked my world. And life changed drastically. My dad moved out. My mom ended up working 2 jobs now. I found myself quite a bit like alone. My brother was hanging out with his friends a lot. And my dad changed careers. And he got into law enforcement, and he got the opportunity to work wherever. He started working for the state. So my brother wanted to move down here to Southern California. And, I was getting into trouble up there where we were at. And I says, well, it's time for a change, come down here. And it was fun, man. It was totally different, like a bachelor pad almost, Dad would work nights all the time. And it was great. We had a good relationship, cooked dinners a lot. Like, that's one thing that my dad always was just like, look, you want to go out with your friends? I'm going to go out to work. We're going to eat dinner together. It was strong, man. It was good.
What other things allowed you to bond with your dad? Anything else that sticks out to you as you reflect back? 42 years old?
Yeah. He had a old truck. It was an old 84 Chevy Stepside, man. I remember when we were kids, when I was a kid, we started disassembling that thing. We're going to do a total restoration on that thing, frame down. And, but, just like when life happens, it's like time stopped with that thing, but definitely he helped me how to wrench on a car, man. If I can't do it, then I'm going to, find somebody else that will, but we're going to try our best to fix it. But definitely working on cars, man, fishing a lot, camping when we were kids. Oh, we camped a lot, dude.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of the downfall about these newer cars. It's hard to wrench on them, and you can't really mess with the electronic system with it. So you guys got to take it in, and you're probably not going to have the OAE wrench that's specific for
Right.
So, I mean, like he said, that was a good opportunity to kind of wrench on it and change the oil, and the alternator was pretty easy. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing I do with my kids still, like, basic stuff like that. If it's on top or whatever, we can get into it. But if it's just too much, I got a guy for that,
Yeah, that's cool. What about your mom? How'd your mom kind of raise you? What kind of, what was she trying to lead you into?
Just my mom, she showed me what definitely hard work was, man. Being independent, just starting from scratch. It seemed like, like she didn't work. She worked part-time when my parents were together, but then after that, man, it was like just grind mode. She had to do what she had to do to provide for the boys, for me and my brother. And she's been a union member for her whole life, my whole life. She's working with the UFCW. She's been working in the supermarkets for a long time. She's a deli manager, and she's definitely showed me what hard work is, unconditional love, for sure, man.
That's cool, man. And you still have a good relationship with your parents now?
Yeah, we still have a good relationship. They moved up north. My dad kind of lives 3 hours from here. My mom lives in Reading, which is like 9 hours away. But yeah, still a good relationship, definitely.
That's cool, man. Going back to that bachelor pad, kind of with dad being gone, we get into trouble. What was that? What was that kind of adolescence like for you?
Yeah, what's weird? When my parents split up, dude, I just kind of like found comfort in the wrong people,
Sure.
right? The wrong habits. Started smoking a lot of weed at a young age, and that carried me. Like I held on to that, up until like I started working with the city. It was weird because my dad being in law enforcement, like once I turned 18, he was like, I'm going to move back up north. So you're going to have to make a decision here, so we found our own place, me and my brother, but it was hard to, get a good job that's going to pay, rent and car insurance, phone bills, all this stuff, utilities. So I started selling weed, man, actually, and got me into trouble. I found myself in the back of the cop car, and, but, watching him grow up, it was like, well, when I was growing up, watching him and the family get together, it was always, celebrating with alcohol and stuff like that. So I kind of took to that, at a young age too, which kind of, I was telling you earlier, man, like 14 years sober, dude,
Yesterday,
Super Bowl 45 was the last time I had a drink. Yeah, 14 years ago, man. But, it's just kind of watching a pattern of certain things for me. It was like, you become kind of what you see, right? What you see growing up. And for me, it was like, am I going to continue this habit and then have my kids do the same thing? Like, I'm not saying my dad was a bad guy, right? Like, he can control his shit. I couldn't.
yeah,
Like, that was the only difference. I just had no control. They had control over me, until that one night where I was like, you got to make a change, man.
yeah. Well, I want to get into your story, but I kind of want to lead up to it before we get there, because I think it's important, and you've come a long way, and I think your story can impact a lot of people. But ultimately, fast forward a little bit, how'd you get into the trade? What was that like for you?
Oh, I got into the trades from my uncle. Actually, my uncle was a lineman, and me, my brother, and my cousin, we were like the three musketeers, man, thick as thieves, and we would always hang out at his house. He had a swimming pool, and he kind of maybe saw us like not really having much direction. At this point, my dad had already moved back up north. Like I said, we were doing our thing, partying, and, living another bachelor pad. And he said, hey, you guys should get into this trade, make you a lot of money, good career, good benefits. And sure, what do I got to do? So he guided us to this class through LA Trade Tech, and take the class, take the test for a groundman position. And I took the test, man, I barely passed. I was just like, cool, I passed. And
We're good.
Yeah, I'm good. And I was like waiting and waiting. And after a while, I was like, okay, I don't know. I guess I'm just going to live my life. And then 2 years later, I finally got a call. Hey, we wanted to set you up with an interview. And I got in, and it was funny because at that point he had promoted to senior. He went from journeyman to senior EDM, right? And I get put on his crew, brand new, right, in the trade at the district, and oh, let's put Spencer with Spencer. It'll be funny, you know? And now I'm like, man, I see a total different side of who he is, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's always been a quiet person, but now it's like, now it's business, you know? And it was good, man. You know, I thank him a lot, you know, for everything, because this job has afforded me so much.
Did you know anything about the trade kind of getting in, or you were just kind of taking it for granted and you were just looking for that kind of handout, so to speak?
Yeah, I had no idea. You know, I would see, I mean, my uncle had, you know, a nice house and, you know, pretty decent car, you know, nice stuff. And I knew he worked outside because he'd come home with those, you know,
Raccoon eyes.
the raccoon eyes, right? I'm like, what the hell does he do? And he's like, oh, my cousin's like, dude, he's a lineman. I was like, I don't know what that is. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, once I got in, man, you know, it was a total culture shock. You know, it's like, it was totally different. You know, the brotherhood, the camaraderie, you know, something that I've never experienced with my other job. You know, I used to work in a warehouse, schlepping boxes, you know, like this really felt like I was, you know, contributing to something, you know, helping people get lights back on and new construction and stuff like that, man. It was awesome.
You talk about that culture shock. Do you remember when that shock shift for you? That culture, you kind of realize, all right, I got to change some things.
Yeah, man, I think maybe just joking around, you know, like, you know, you have your fun or whatever, but then when it's work, it's like, dude, you got to stay focused, right? Being in the underground when the seniors would be in the hole doing hot work, right? And you'd be like trying to shoot the shit with the other ground guy or whatever, like, hey, like, this is serious, like, focus, right? We don't want any chit chat. I'm like, yeah, like, what, dude, what's going on? He's like, we'll talk about it later, you know? But yeah, that, man. And, you know, just growing up, I had to grow up quick at that point. I got hired, I got married, I had a kid.
Same year or same time frame?
Dude, all it was like all in the same year.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Like a year or two difference, but dude, it all hit me, you know. Like now I'm providing for my family, a brand new family, you know, car payment, rent, everything. It's like all on my shoulders, man.
What was your relationship with safety? I mean, I think if you're just kind of maybe taking the job for granted, maybe you're just checking the boxes, make sure you're doing enough not to get fired or being in compliance. So what was your relationship with safety early on?
I think early on, I mean, it was different back then. You know, the culture was different. You know, we used to do things on the job that, you know, we don't really do so much anymore, you know. Yeah. So for me, dude, like I kind of fell into that, you know. I embraced it. It was comfortable for me. Like, oh, dude, yeah, I like to drink. Or we'd go after work and have some drinks. But on the job, you know, it was like you're saying, like, okay, I'm going to wear my hard hat. I'm going to wear my vest. I'm going to make sure, you know, I have my glasses on.
Doing it just to do it. You don't really see the...
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then it was one accident, man. Somebody got into 34.5, right? And we showed up on the scene like right after paramedics. And I seen the guy getting gurneyed into the ambulance, and I was like, "Oh man, like this is real, dude. Like what you can get into, it's real." Like the other two guys were, you know, their faces were gray because they got arc flashed, and a week later, that guy ended up passing away, right? And that's when it hit me, dude. Like for real, like, damn, bro, this is real. Like what you're about to get into is real. And the whole time it was kind of like, okay, you're going to be a ground guy. You're going to be an apprentice. You're going to be a lineman. You could do all this other stuff, but you know, nobody wants that shit. You want to be a lineman, right? Yeah. But I was, you know, for me, dude, I didn't like being on the pole. I didn't like heights or nothing. So when they said, you're going to split the program up overhead and underground, where do you want to go? I was like, well, shit, I want to go underground. I don't want to be on the pole all day. Like I was an underground helper, right? So I knew the underground. I knew the tools. I knew the material. I just didn't know how to splice. So once I got into that program, it was like second nature for me, dude. You know, it was just like, I know all this stuff. I just got to put it together. But even then, like some of the safety things, like you would, you know, yeah, I can get away with this or get away with that. I was actually burned as an apprentice, man. 2011, we were taping up a temp splice, and it was 500 bus. It was a number 65 kV on some 500 bus, right? And we were using a 500 kVS, right? Those 2 bolt connectors.
Right.
And during the tailgate, excuse me, I had asked what type of connector we're going to use. And they said we're going to use a split bolt connector. And in my head, I'm thinking, that's not right, dude. Like, that connector is made for 500 to 500. And if you only have number 6 on the 500, you're going to have all this bolt sticking out. And the tape's going to possibly rip. But I didn't say it, right? And then that's what ended up happening. And me and the other apprentice were down there, putting just some waterproofing tape on there. And he made direct contact, dude. Like, phased the ground, his thumb to his elbow. And I came to potential, grounded out. I got 3rd-degree burns. He had skin grafts. And I was mad, dude. I was mad at myself. Like, why didn't you speak up? Like, because if you would have spoke up, it would have put that idea in somebody else's head. Maybe we should rethink how we're going to connect this, right? Maybe if we put, the number 6 on the 500 with some wrapping wire to be clean, right? There'll be no protrusion or no potential for the insulating tape to get ripped, dude, right? But it didn't, right? And I handled that how I handled everything back then, right? Which was drinking, dude,
So instead of being angry at yourself and forcing a change, you cope by just drinking more, you're saying?
Yeah, I did, man. I did. That was August 2011, and I continued that for another 6 months, bro, hard. And then, 14 years ago, dude, it was Super Bowl Sunday, and I came home after driving drunk, and I was just like, bro, what are you doing? I wasn't a believer back then, right? But I heard this voice, right? Who now I believe was God speaking to me. Like, bro, you need to change, or your life's gonna get flipped. You're gonna lose everything somehow. So I did, man. I made some phone calls because I didn't know who to call. I didn't know what to do. So I called family, and the first 2 people didn't answer, and the third person did, man. He's like, yeah, check yourself into a program tomorrow. And that's what I did. And it's been a lifesaver, dude. Definitely.
Were you apprehensive to check yourself in, or was it just kind of, this was it?
Yeah, it was it. After I was on the phone, it was one of my other uncles who's a fireman. And I was crying, bro. I'm on the phone crying. Like, dude, I don't know what to do. I have no control. This is what you're going to do, bro. Don't worry. Like, we got you. I got you. God has you. I went in the house and I just dumped everything down the drain, man. Dumped everything down the drain, got rid of everything. The next day I went to Kaiser and checked myself into a program, and they were like, well, we want to keep you. You need to do an inpatient. And I said, well, I'm an apprentice. I can't really miss work. Well, just tell them like you broke your arm or something. Like I can't. So they were like, well, we have classes. You can come, 2 or 3 days a week on the evenings. And that's perfect. 6 to 8 p.m., 2 or 3 days a week. And that's what I did, man. I did it. I'd show up, and it was hearing these other people's stories, bro, was like, really eye-opening to me, because they had addiction problems with like opiates and hard drugs and stuff. And to me, I was just like, bro, you just can't handle liquor. But I mean, for me, it was hard, that was my mountain to get over. And these people have their own, but that was definitely, man, I needed to get help, right? I've tried doing it on my own before, but it didn't stick.
At that point, what was your relationship like with your spouse and your kids? Your kid?
It was rough, bro. It almost ruined my marriage, a couple of times. With my kids, the kids just thought Dad's just having fun. I mean, I wasn't like angry. I wasn't like an angry drunk or nothing like that, right? I wasn't abusive. It would make me, I don't know, I guess have fun or be happier. So we would just dance around and stuff like that. But like I said, dude, like I didn't want my kids to see that as normal, Dad copes with anger with booze, or happiness with booze, or we celebrate with booze. Like, we just, now it's like we work through those things, right? We don't need this, right? We work through it in a positive way. But yeah, man, it was definitely rough on the marriage, bro, have conversations I don't remember. My wife would tell me the next day, like, hey, I thought we were going to do this. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'd wake up in the living room floor 2:30 in the morning, right? Like, shit, she couldn't even wake me up. I tried, Daniel. I tried to wake you up. You wouldn't come. You wouldn't wake up. You know, I'd black out, dude. You know, I'd miss work. You know, I'd carpool and have guys be like, he's sick. My wife would tell him, like, he's sick. He's not going to make it, you know. So it was definitely detrimental, man. It was definitely not good for me and my family.
How'd you balance kind of that lifestyle and then still being an apprentice? Apprentice is hard, man, let alone without anything else going on in your life, but to be kind of dependent on alcohol, man. How does that work out for you?
Man, I don't know. I don't know how I got through it, dude, honestly. You know, it's the first time anybody's asked me that, dude, but I think, you know, God was guiding me along the way. That's the only answer I have now, because thinking about it back then, dude, I don't know. I would wake up hungover, still drunk, you know, drive to work, eat a big greasy meal because that was the cure, you know, work through it, sweat it out, kid, you know, and then, but once the shift was over, dude, I hit the liquor store before I'd hit the freeway. You know, I'd get home blasted, dude. And I wouldn't stop, you know. And it was a vicious cycle, because I'd still get up to go to work because that's what I had to do. You know, I got little ones and a wife that are depending on me. I have house payment, car payments and shit, you know, I had to do it. On the other hand, I thought I have to drink, but really I didn't, man. Once I realized that, you know, life turned around, dude. So
you had a successful outpatient program. It kind of worked out for you. Clicked.
Yeah, it did. It was substance abuse, so it was everybody in there for everything. You know, I tried doing AA. I'm not bashing it or saying it doesn't work. Like, it's a successful program, but just for me, I didn't. The structure of it didn't really vibe with me, you know. And there's guys that hit me up like, bro, what do I do? You got to get help somewhere. Did you do AA? I didn't. Well, why should I do it? Because it might work for you, right?
What was it about that program for you that worked for you to allow you to be 14 years sober today or yesterday?
What was it about AA?
Your program, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the programs.
Yeah, the one that I was in, the substance abuse program, dude, honestly, it was just a couple of the stories that I heard, right? One guy who was there because he was an alcoholic, he would wake up with the shakes. And he's like, dude, I got to put down like a fifth of vodka to stop shaking, to go to work. And then there was another story I heard in there where somebody said that their sister, one of the relatives, was being held ransom because they owed a debt. And then I was just like, bro, like, these are real problems, dude. Excuse my language, but I had this self-talk, like, dude, you're just being a bitch. Like, you're letting this control you. You have a beautiful life. You have a great job with exponential possibilities, and you're going to risk it because you don't have control. And that's one of the things that the counselor told me. Like, we had a one-on-one, and he goes, so you want to quit drinking? I go, yeah. He goes, it's just say no. I go, like that? He goes, yes, like that. Every time the thought comes in your head, you have to tell yourself, not right now, dude. Not today. You know, he goes, well, when is your biggest, like, what are your biggest triggers? And I go,
name it.
Name it, bro. Like, I don't need an excuse,
yeah.
You know? And he goes, well, then you're just going to have to self-auto-suggest every single time. You know? Like, this is not an option. One is not an option because there is no control. He goes, so it's going to just have to be zero for you. And I think one of the biggest things that helped me kind of like shed that weight off of me was actually just testifying to my dad, you know, coming clean to him. We got together at my brother's house and everybody's having drinks. And he goes, hey, man, you want one? Well, you know, I'm going to mix some more drinks. No, I'm good, Dad.
He didn't know about anything?
He didn't know about how bad it was.
Okay.
My wife was the only one that knew, right? And people might have said like, oh, why is Daniel gaining so weight? Because I would eat and drink, dude. I was almost 300 pounds, right? So people were concerned about my weight, but they didn't know that it was contributing to alcohol, you know, contributed from alcohol. And so my dad's like, okay, like, no problem. 20 minutes later, they're making another drink. Hey, you want one? We're going to make, what's going on? Actually, Dad, I checked myself into a program. Like, for what? I go, for alcoholism. Like, I got a problem. And I'm not drinking anymore. And he was surprised. He's like, I didn't know it was that bad. Like, I go, yeah, it was that bad. Like, honestly, man, I'm not trying to glamorize it or nothing like that, because if you have a problem, you need to get help. But I mean, I would hide bottles in my car, like days off, I'd have errands to run, and I'd hit the liquor store, run some errands, right? Come back, and my wife would be like, you fucking drink? Oh, just a little. Like you weren't even at home. But once I was able to just be honest and open with the people that were closest to me, other than my wife, which is, to me, sounds shitty now, like even when I had that realization where I couldn't go inside and be like, babe, you're right. What do I do? What do we do? Like I had to call somebody else, right? One of my best friends in the house. It was rough, man. But once I was able to just get it off, bro, it was like, a year later, my brother became sober, so it's good, man.
Did you think about quitting the apprenticeship, maybe taking yourself out of the environment of work, that stress of mental and physical, to maybe kind of balance things out? Was that a thought?
Nah, never, man. Never. I had nothing to fall back on. I knew nothing else. I went from schlepping boxes, making pennies, to, making double, like now I have 3 mouths to feed, on top of my own. Like I could, dude, for me, it was like no option, it was no option. Even when I got burned that first time, dude, I was scared, bro. But like, what do I do?
What's your talk like now when you see someone maybe struggling with those, some have the same signs that you did with in terms of alcoholism?
I guide them to the simplest programs that we have, right? Our employees assistance program. Like, hey, dude, first of all, I appreciate you being brave enough, right, to say, dude, I don't know what to do, because I've been there, man. I know it's hard to admit, especially in our trade, bro. It's like, we want to be like, show that we have everything under control, because when the shit hits the fan, we have to, right? But in your personal life, dude, it's like, I don't have any control. Like, what do I do, bro? How bad is it? Okay, dude, this, we have this, they'll set you up with a counselor, 2 blocks from your house or wherever you want, man. You give them an address, and they're going to give you a list of counselors that are out there. And for me, I always tell guys, dude, just stay away completely, right? You have to I just try and tell them what that counselor told me, right? Every time you have that thought, just tell yourself, bro, not today. I don't need it right now. You're going to have to disassociate yourself with certain people, certain activities, if that's what you have to do. Yeah, it's hard, bro. You might have to lose some friends for a little while, right? But eventually, if they're good friends, if there's good people, they'll understand, right? They should. Like, dude, I didn't know my boy was struggling. And just stick with it, man. That's it. I got one guy, another brother from the union, man, and he's like, dude, I'm struggling. Okay, well, what is your weakness? Oh, I get angry and then I do this. Well, what else can we do, bro? Like, is there another way you can take that frustration or that anger out? Like, for me, it's hitting the gym, dude. Like, is there something else that you can do? Something you can create, right? Like, what is it? It's got to be something else. Because for me, once I ripped that wound off, that bandage off that wound of, alcoholism, drinking, I was trying to find, I was getting into so much other different things. Like, I'm trying to hike and, build other stuff, and all this stuff is just like
Filling that void.
Filling the void, right? Yeah. But nothing was really sticking. But for me, I was like, I cannot go back to drinking. Right? I have to find something. And then my wife and I were gonna do our 15-year wedding anniversary, like a real wedding, right? And one of my buddies had lost like over 100 pounds, and it was inspiring to me, dude. So we joined the gym. She wanted us to lose weight together, right, for this new wedding we were gonna do. And for me, dude, like that was it, right? That filled that void. You know, it's like go and work out first thing in the morning, get that hard thing knocked off the list, right? I felt accomplished. I felt re-energized. Go to work.
Starting the day with a win.
Starting the day with the win, dude. Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you, I think as an industry, we're doing better at recognizing and talking amongst ourselves and leadership, management, local IBWs getting involved too, about maybe addressing or having support or making it easier to have conversations about the mental problems in coping, maybe with alcohol or just those poor habits. But I think we're seeing too is maybe that, and it sounds like yours was more a type of mental coping with alcohol. You can speak for yourself, but I would say that's pretty common. But I think as a trade too, we realize that our bodies have an expiration date, and the body keeps count, and a lot of substances could be covering that physical pain too. And I think addressing that on top of that mental side is going to help the trade and industries a lot more.
Yeah, for me, it was definitely, I would use that as an emotional thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I just, stress. I mean, now it's easy to blame it on other things,
Sure.
right? But I use it as a coping mechanism, and then in the trades, it's like it was part of the culture, and it's good to see it kind of dwindling away, like you're saying, and the openness of it, right? I think, man, it takes a toll on us, right? And dude, I'm sorry. I think I lost the question, bro.
No, you're good. It wasn't really a question. It was more a conversation piece, and it was kind of moving as the industry. Like you said, we're just kind of turning that page as an industry to recognize the mental aspect. And it's kind of something we team up with Vamosity. We call it fit for duty.
Okay.
It's kind of taking care of yourself, getting a good night's rest, starting to eat right, hydrate well, and then movement, body. Let's stretch. Let's work on building some structural development into your body. Like, you think it's counterintuitive because you're going to work hard, but actually there's more to it, and really relying on those. So I think part of that culture shift where you said that it's kind of phasing out, where it's not appropriate to drink on the job anymore, and leadership's getting involved, and even the crews are getting involved and managing amongst themselves. But also it's educating the workforce and realizing that there's more to it, and we can work those hard jobs and give back at the end of the day.
Yeah. I think, what's funny, I was smiling when you were saying that, man, because a lot of the guys, when I started, that were like, come on, kid, we're going to go eat here. We're going to go get this from the store. I mean, they're all managers now, right? So, I mean, it's good that, they're helping making these changes for sure. Like now at work, we have like a health and wellness group that you can join, right? And they have, Zoom classes during your lunch break that you can join, and they're being more vocal about the EAP, right? And getting mental health. And they actually started a peer volunteer program probably 6 years ago, right? Where people that have been sober for a while, right? They started a group where it's like an outreach, man. It's like, hey, man, I went through this. You can call on us, right? And it's not like just like a counselor with a degree or something. It's like, no, these are guys that are, that you might have been their apprentice, right? Or you guys were in the bucket together, or, you're on the same crew for a while. And dude, I didn't know. Like, you don't know how many times I've tell my story, like, dude, I got 5 years sober. Dude, I got 15. What? Dude, that's awesome. I didn't know. It's like, I don't talk about it. But why not? Why not, man? Like, I wouldn't talk about it a whole lot, right? But then, after I had the second accident, dude, it was like talking about it was the healing, man. You know?
Let's go there, man. April 2021, man. Take us through the day. What was the scope of the job, man?
4/27/21, man. We have these switches. They're actually link boxes, right? We created a tool that you can switch in them, and we were going to de-energize a bus off of it, a tie off of it, and the procedure is, so it's a 4-way, right? You have upper left, upper right, lower left, lower right, right? ABC phase for each position. And you connect some leads, you close in an oil switch, you remove the blades, the disconnect blades, right? And then you open up the switch, disconnects or de-energizes the position. So our job was to de-energize one of those positions, and we didn't follow procedure, right? Because it was a small hole, we work underground. And so we kind of had a conversation.
What's your crew makeup?
It was me. I'm a senior cable splicer, right? I was a senior cable splicer at that time. Another senior, he's a senior EDM, which we can do the same jobs. It's just different titles. He makes 5% more.
Dang.
Because the EDMs are overhead underground, right?
Gotcha.
So like I said, when I got in the program, it was split overhead underground.
Gotcha.
So it was the two of us in the hole. We had a cross-training senior, a second step apprentice, and then another EDM, a journeyman lineman, who was operating the switch, and then 2 ground guys, right? 2 helpers. But the hole was so small that it was only enough room for the 2 of us, me and the other senior, which is the minimum for doing underground hot work.
Absolutely.
So we had, face shield. Let's start from the inside out. Safety glasses, hard hat, face shield, right? 2 layers of FR, gloves with keepers, right? Standing blankets, rubber standing blankets.
Vault's dry, a little bit of water. You have to pump it.
Vault's dry. It was damp outside. It was like midnight start.
Got the blower going.
Yeah, lights. I held the tailgate. I sit up on the hole. So I kind of took the lead. The other guy's been a senior for probably 10 years longer than I have,
I'm sorry, what was the time of day? Was it a night job?
Yeah, it was a nighttime.
Gotcha.
We had a midnight start, and this was like 1 a.m. Monday night, right? First shift of the day. Oh, no, I think it was the second, because we came in Monday, then Monday night.
You said it was a small hole. Was it busy, though? Was it
Yeah, it was kind of busy, man. It's a 4x6 or 4x8, right? And that switch is probably, 3x3.
Oh, yeah.
Feeders everywhere because it's 2 blocks from the DS, right? So there's probably 4 or 5 feeders in there, cable all around.
Yeah.
3 conductor lead everywhere.
Ooh, lead.
Yeah. Specialty, man.
That's good stuff.
So we were like, we're going to de-energize the upper right position, so we're going to work the upper left. That's where it's written, the procedure. Well, we had to stand on an A-frame ladder to reach the upper right position. Well, the hole was too small to put it on their A-frame. So I just, hey, man, I'm going to work the lower left position, right? The phases are all the same, ABC top to bottom. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll use our meter. So we get the first one on. Okay, on A phase, on A phase. We put our leads on, close the switch. Closes the switch. He opens up the blade, open up the switch, right? Opens up the switch. That phase is de-energized. Okay, we're going to move on to the next phase. But communication broke down, right? Like, I'm not trying to say, this guy's to blame or that guy's to blame. We're both to blame, right? Communication broke down. We didn't move at the same time. He went to the next phase, and I put my lead on A phase. So now he's on B, I'm on A. Close the switch, and I'm holding that lead, 11 inches from my face. Close the switch, and it just grenades, bro. It grenades right in my face, man. And it was, when we do hot work in the underground, right, we get a okay to work hot, right? Open up the auto reclosures, block the CBs, all this stuff. Maybe I got it backwards, right? Block the CBs and open up the auto reclosures, right? So if it hits fault, it's not going to come back.
Yeah.
Like the one shot, I think you guys call it one shot.
Yep, thank you.
So this thing's going off, bro. It's firing. and time just stopped, dude. It just slowed down. And I'm having these conversations in my head, like, why isn't this circuit shutting off, right? You're supposed to have protection. And then it was like, bro, why aren't you dropping to the ground? Because we were always told if it starts popping off in the underground, you drop to the corner. And I'm thinking, why aren't you dropping to the corner? Because the whole time I'm just standing there, and I remember the noise, you know, and my eyes are closed tight, dude, and everything's just white from the arc, from the flash. And then it was just like, dude, you're going to die down here. Like, this is not going to stop. You're going to die. And then as soon as I had that realization, bro, like everything just stopped, right? The noise stopped. The lights went out. And I was like, fuck, you died. And then I took that breath and the smoke, my throat, my lungs were burning, man. That's how I knew I was alive, dude. But everything was still black. Like, open up my eyes, everything was still black. Well, my face shield was just charred, you know? So I grabbed my face shield and I ripped that my hard hat off. I took my glasses off, and there's a glow in this vault, right? Well, my coveralls were still on fire. So I pat myself off and I throw the blower down. They throw the blower in, we climb out, dude, and then I step on the pavement, and it was cool. Like I said, it was kind of misty. That cool, fresh air, man, just hitting my face, dude. It was like, it's like God sent, bro, you know? But then it was like, boom, where's my partner? Where is he? He's still in the hole. What are you doing down there? Get out, get out, get out. Like, let's get out. You know, I asked for water. I was going to pour water on my face, but I didn't know how bad it was, dude. Like, I thought I had open wounds and stuff. So I didn't want to pour the water on my face, on my hair. I used to have long hair and a full beard. So I just kind of take a drink of water, you know, spit all the shit out my mouth and sit on the bumper. And the guys from the next hole down, they're already there. You know, I could hear everything, you know, emergency on the radio. They're dropping the circuit. They get this burn gel. We have these burn gel kits, you know, they put it on my face, dude. And it's just like, so cool, man.
I think, full disclosure, you're not supposed to do the water at all, right? Do you know?
I don't know. You know, for me, that was just instinct.
No, I got you.
You know, but then it was just like, so once it was like, okay, we're safe, whatever. That's what, like, the first response.
The training kicks in.
Yeah, it just kicked in, man. You know, the guys bust out the burn gel kit and paramedics are on the way, dude. It's a trip, man, because my helper, who I talked to him a little bit while after that, and he goes, bro, like, I saw those flames coming out of that hole. He goes, dude, I ran. You know, we have the cones set up and we have those barricade sticks. He goes, dude, I threw that stick and I started running, dude. He goes, I'm sorry. And he goes, but then it clicked. You have to call on the radio. You have to get first aid, you know? So it was like, the training just kicks in, man. And that's why it's so important. Like, we have annual training every year, you know, and we go there and guys are like, oh yeah, I got to do pole top rescue and this and that, vault rescue and fires training, you know, first aid training, like, listen. But when the shit goes, bro, like, it's just second nature, dude, you know?
There's actually, you know what? I'm not going to say it. It's a story I had. I want to stick to your story. We're going to shift to you. We're going to stay on you, but how'd your pole partner, how was he?
He had third-degree burns, like, right on his forearm, right outside his cuff, the cuff of his glove. But that was pretty much it, man. He had some smoke inhalation. So like I said, it was a pretty big crew compliment, man. And it was nuts because, and I think about this all the time. I used to play the what ifs.
Yeah.
You know, like, what if we had that apprentice down there? What if we had the cross-training senior down there? Maybe they would have caught that I was on a different phase. But before we go to work in the underground, you know, we get our gloves on and we're going to get ready to open up some conductor or something. We tell the guys up top, hey, going to work. And they're supposed to repeat our address, our radio number, where we're at. Right. And then I looked up and I seen the apprentice and the cross-training senior, and they don't have no face shields on. And I go, hey, man, I go, you guys want to see, I go, I know you guys want to be down here and you want to see what's going on. I go, but if you're going to look over the hole, I go, you should have a face shield on because if something happens, the fire's going there, right? And they're like, yeah. So they go and get their face shields on. And the apprentice told me afterwards, like, bro, like, I had splatter all over my face shield, dude. You know, like, thanks, man, you know? Sorry, man, I was rambling, dude, just thinking back on it. But.
No, you're good, man. All right, man, you're in the best burn center in Grossmont. What you got?
Yeah, Grossman. So all those, back to those other guys, the partner, man, he got smoke inhalation. Two of the other guys, they got sent to Cedars for smoke inhalation, and then they got released that same day. I got sent to county at first, right? They took me to county, the first trauma center that I guess was the closest one.
Anyone call your wife at this point?
No. And one of the guys that was there, man, he's a good friend of mine. We had just went camping over that weekend, bro. It was like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We went camping in Huntington by the Sea. And that Monday we're back at work, you know, and I'm sitting on the bumper and I got this burn gel and he's like, bro, you want me to call Lisa? And I go, no, dude. Like, no. My uncle, the one that got me into the trade, is now the superintendent for the yard I'm working at. And I said, Frank has her number. Frank can call her. So he does. And like she gets to the hospital with him at like 6 a.m. And the whole time I'm at county, I'm telling them, like, you need to send me to Grossman. Like, we have a directive that we signed a card. Doesn't mean anything. Well, it was during COVID, right? So now I don't have union representation. I don't have the safety representation. I don't have nobody on my side. Be like, we need to get this guy
to the best burn
the best burn center.
Yeah,
you know. And they were like, well, we have to make sure you're stable. We want to make sure your throat's not going to close up. I was like, can I have some water? No, nothing. Anyone give me nothing, man.
Have you seen yourself yet? Have you?
Yeah. So the whole time, dude, I'm taking selfies, bro. I'm sitting on the bumper and I asked my bud, man, I'm like, dude, how's my face? And he goes, no, don't worry, dude, you're still handsome. I'm like, you're a fucking liar, bro. Like, I was never handsome. But yeah, I'm taking selfies, dude, the whole time. Like, soon, not even 5 minutes, I took a photo. I'm in the ambulance, I took a photo. I get to county, I took a photo. They deburr my face, they peel all the dead skin off, and I take a photo. Yeah, I was taking photos the whole time, man. And it's crazy. I just wanted to see what my face was looking like along the way, not really realizing that I was kind of just journaling the whole healing process, So yeah, they didn't want to send me to Grossman. So finally I tell the charge nurse, I'm like, look, what's to stop me from discharging myself and just having somebody drive me? And they go, well, nothing. You're of sound mind and body. I go, so you get it, right? Like, hook me up with a ride and send me over there. So finally they do. I get there, man. It's like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And the doctor comes in and he's like, yeah, it's pretty bad. You're going to need 1 surgery, maybe 2. I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know how long you're going to be here. What can we get you for now? I go, food and water, bro. Like, I'm thirsty and I'm starving. Yeah, sure. So they gave me some water. They gave me a couple turkey sandwiches, which is hard to get down, dude, and then orange sherbet. I saw the sherbet on the plate. I'm saving that. So I finish it and I call the nurse back. I'm like, you got any more ice cream?
Go back a little bit. What'd your wife say when she saw you first thing?
I don't remember. Man.
Were you nervous when you knew she was coming around?
I did, man. I could see the worry on her face. But she called me, right? She called me and I go, look, I go, remember last time? I said, I called you. Last time I got burned, I said, I called you. I go, this time I didn't know how bad it was going to be. I didn't want to call you. I go, but we're talking now. My voice is shot, and I go, but it's going to be okay. And then when she showed up, I could see it on her face, man. And I don't know what I was thinking, dude. Like, I was more worried about the kids, you know? And I was like, maybe you should be with the kids. Like, maybe make sure the kids are okay. And so she went back home, right? And I regret that. Trying to like be like, just go home. I'm okay, but go home. When did she needed to be there. You know, I needed her to be there. But afterwards, man, when I got to Grossman, you know, the company they set them up at the hotel, you know, a ride. The safety section was taking the kids wherever they needed, you know, school, back home, back to, you know, the hotel.
Wow.
Yeah, my wife was there for as long as I was there. You know, I was at the hospital for 10 days. 10 days. I had 2 skin graft surgeries.
Can you talk a little bit about that? I heard just from it's kind of weird. Yesterday I was listening to a podcast with Travis Barker, and he's talking about his plane crash.
Yeah.
And he's talking about just the burn aspect. He goes to Grossman too, and it's pretty wild. And his journey's kind of like yours in the sense that he runs now and stuff too. But I think there's some. I think we don't know a little bit as industry. We don't know what that process is like when you're healing from a burn. If you can.
Yeah. So the first time I was there, man, you know, we had plenty of visitors. You know, there was no such thing as COVID, right? But this time around, I had 1 visitor per day for 5 hours, right? From 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. So it was a lot of lonely time, bro, really. Like, I mean, I had nurses coming in and out, like with the way my throat and my lungs were feeling. They were putting me on breathing treatments every 3 hours, right? I had a breathing treatment. They'd come in and check my blood pressure and everything, you know, every few hours. So it wasn't really any rest. I had twice a day in the morning, I would do the hyperbaric chamber, right? Put you in that big old tube. They up the atmospheric pressure. It's supposed to help with healing. And then it was just like sitting around, you know, waiting for 3 o'clock to hit. So my wife would come see me, man. And then when she did, it was just like, we just lay in bed, bro. You know, I'd scoot over in that hospital bed and she'd lay next to me and it was just fall asleep, dude. You know, really.
Menti, what do you like? Are you thinking about getting healthy, going back to work? Are you thinking about like where you at mentally?
Wrecked, bro. Wrecked. You know, like, this is the second time I've been at this hospital because of this job. Am I cut out for this? Right? Is this what I should be doing? Like, this is the second time my family's had to go through this. I know my wife doesn't want me to go back. You know, my kids, like, they're probably scared every time dad's going to get up and go to work now.
Are you thinking about quitting the trade at this point?
Not so much. When I got home, I was. When I got home, I did, dude. You know, like, what can I do? Right? What can I do that would sustain this lifestyle, or, you know, the things that we have, you know, mortgage payment and, you know, trips or whatever. Like, what can I do? You know, I have a buddy who retired early from the post office and he started real estate, and I was like, I could do that. I got to do something. Because I'm scared, man. You know, I would wake up with nightmares at home. You know, I'd see that flash, I'd wake up. And that's like another point where I was just like, part of my healing, man, was asking for help again, dude. You know, I put myself back to that time where I needed help with drinking. You know, I got to get over this fear. I don't know what else to do. You know, I have to go back, but I'm scared, right? I feel like incompetent. So I called the EAP program, right? I called the Employee Assistance Program, and they set me up with somebody by my house, and I go and I see them, man, and I'm seeing them twice a week, you know, and we're working through everything, you know. Like, I had some realizations back then. She's like, well, just walk me through, like, what happened, this and that. And I was just like, where did it go wrong, right? Like, that's when I realized this is where we were on different tasks for the job, right?
Sure.
I was like, damn. And then from there, you know, like, it helped me get over that fear, help you get over, that self-doubt, a lot of self-doubt, man. And then I didn't stop going, once I got past that, I was off of work for 5 months. So I got back to work in October. But then I was still going to see her, man. I was still going to see that counselor because now we're working through all this other stuff, right? Stuff from before. Why did you engage in this? Why did you act like this? Why do you feel like this about yourself? Maybe it's because of A, B, and C. Well, let's work through that, and dude, that for me, that was another game changer, which I don't think most guys are really open to talk about, dude. Like our mental game. Like too many guys won't be like, yeah, man, I was scared. I didn't feel good enough. But for me, laying in that hospital, feeling those feelings, man, I was just like I said, I was taking photos the whole time. So I post some on my Instagram, and I had this Instagram page for a while just because I was into working out now, and the underground side of line work doesn't really get highlighted. So I was like, well, I can try and be somebody that shows some of this stuff, So I posted on my Instagram, my face, and it got reposted by Lineman Mama, Adele, she reposted it. I think Line Junk and High Voltage Industries, they all reposted it on their page. And I started getting all these messages, man, well wishes, questions, It was funny because out of all those, and I answered to every single one, every single response, every single thing, question, comment, I responded, thank you, or I would try and answer the question. But one guy, out of all those people, one guy's got to be a smart ass, right? Oh, you should have followed procedure, you idiot. You wouldn't have butt skin on your face. I was like, well, he's not half wrong. I don't think it's butt skin.
I hope it's not. It's thigh skin.
Yeah. But when I was sitting there, man, and I called the guy that it was his job, I go, bro, how's everybody at the yard? And, we have a major accident like that. It's kind of like stand down. But I called him the next day. I go, how's everybody doing, man? And he goes, everybody's kind of down, bro. Like we had a meeting and we talked about it. He goes, but everybody has this new heightened sense of awareness, bro, like of how bad it could get. Because I was talking to the union rep a while after. He goes, bro, I showed up there after you were already gone. He goes, I went down into the hole and I was like, he didn't fucking make it. He's like, there's no way. For me, after hearing that from my partner at work and seeing all these messages on Instagram, I was like, you're gonna have to use this. Like it's not gonna be a fucking pity party, man. Like so many people want to know, so many people want to avoid this. So it's got to be something worth sharing and sharing the hell out of it. When I got back to work, they finalized the investigation, kind of like, yeah, I already know what we did wrong, but they have to make it formal, right? Yeah. And they have to share it in the safety meetings. And the safety section asked me if I would be willing to talk about it at the yard I was working at, which was a Hollywood. I worked in the Hollywood district. And I said, dude, you know what? I said, if my supervisor lets me do it, I said, I'll talk about it at all the safety meetings that you guys want to present it. And he goes, are you for real? I took a deep breath, man, and I go, yeah, absolutely. I think I owe it. I think I owe it to the trade. So we did, man. I would go with the safety section, and at this time I'm out of the district now. I'm working in transmission. But I'd show up, man, and we'd do safety meetings, and it was hard. It was even harder for these safety meetings because I got back to work in October, and then a month later in November, we lost a brother in the vault. They were doing some hot work, and it was, I don't want to, say too much, but he didn't make it home that night. He died in that vault. And it hit me, man. Like, dude, I just went through all of this, and now we just lost a brother. Like, the dude was my apprentice, We had take your kid to work day, and I remember him and his son, and me and my daughter, getting ice cream on Hollywood and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, he's not going home. So when we had the safety meetings, they had my accident, and then they had his incident, and it was like, fuck. They go, and he tells me, he goes, Danny, I'm gonna let you know, man, the safety guy. He goes, I'm gonna let you know, like, this is gonna be hard, dude. You know, we're gonna go over your accident and then we're gonna go over his incident. Okay. But after every single meeting, man, you know, I'd get somebody come up and be like, dude, thanks. You know, like, thank you for sharing. You know, it kind of puts a whole new perspective on why we have to wear our PPE the way we do, you know, or even wearing it, you know, why we have to follow procedures. Like, you know, I get a couple meter guys, you'd be like, dude, I would take shortcuts or whatever, you know, working by yourself. Like, who's going to watch you there? And that's one thing that one of the supervisors, it always stuck with me, man. He goes, doing the right thing means doing it when nobody's watching. You know, when you got nobody watching you, are you going to do the right thing? So for me, that was a huge part of healing, man, you know, and just getting the story out now. It's like, yeah, I got no problem saying, dude, I'm scared. I don't know. You know, because that hardest part is behind me, dude. Just like telling my dad again, like, Dad, I got a drinking problem. That's the hardest part. Is first one is admitting it, man, you know.
What do you think is more powerful? It won't happen to me, or it can happen to me?
It can. It can, dude, because it absolutely can. Shit, man, I don't know. I used to think it won't happen to me. When we were down in that vault, yeah, it definitely is. You have to tell yourself it can happen to me. Because if you have that attitude like it won't happen to me, that's kind of like saying, I don't care if it happens to him, as long as it doesn't happen to me. But if I tell myself it can happen to me, it's not going to happen to me and it won't happen to him. It won't happen to you. It won't happen to, you know, the apprentices that are watching. When we were down there, man, and like I said, the way we were taught in the procedure is you work the upper right, you know, you want to de-energize the upper right, you work the upper left. That's where you're going to put your leads because you can see it, right? It's not different levels. It's direct. A phase, B phase, C phase. And after I told my partner, I go, hey, man, I'm just going to stand on the ground. I'm going to work the lower left position. Yeah, okay. And then I'm standing there and I'm like, this ain't right. In my head, this ain't right. You can stand on your toolbox because we have these wooden toolboxes that are about, you know, 1.5 feet tall. And if you stand on your toolbox, you can put 1 foot on your toolbox, 1 foot on the other side of that A-frame ladder and work the upper left position. But then I said, this won't happen to me. My ego, bro. I was like, you're good, man. You've been here. You've done this. You've worked in this box before. Right? And thinking about it now, dude, I've said it quite a few times on my Instagram, on my stories. Like, dude, ego just stands for edging God out. Right? And I believe, man, like he was just like whipping my ass that night. Okay. You want to shut me out? This is what's going to happen. And like I said, man, I gave myself to Christ this last summer in August 25th. And that was him telling me, like, Daniel, stand on your box. You know? Yeah, you definitely have to tell yourself, this can happen to me. You know, it can.
I think some people outside or even inside the trade, they'd call linemen arrogant. And I would say either underground, overhead, distribution, transmission, there's a certain level of confidence you have to have in yourself, your training, your PPE, and your coworkers. But do you think that confidence could kind of overfill into feeling invincible too?
I think at times, maybe, you know, for sure. I mean, you know, hopefully this is the worst thing that ever happened to me, I could say, because shit, man, you know, it's just, for me, it's like progressive. You know, I make a joke like, dude, I'm going to need a punch card at that Grossman's because I've been there, you know? Dude, I'm sorry. I got lost, dude.
You're doing good, man. No, you're good. We can move on. What's your, you talked about, I like how you talked about your healing and what it's like being, you were obviously scared, nervous, whatever you want to use to get back into that. Into work. Do you remember kind of get back in the vault that first time?
Yeah, man. You know, it's funny because before this accident, I had talked about transferring over to the transmission side. One of the guys that was over there said, bro, come over, dude. It's, I don't want to get rid of the secrets here, but it's good, man. Like, you don't have to do paperwork. You don't have to, deal with customers or, any of that. You just do your job. You don't even have to do your time, bro. You just go home. Like, cool. So I talked about it before my accident. Yeah, I think I'm going to transfer over. I telling my uncle, who's the superintendent, yeah, I think I'm going to go to transmission. When the bids open up, I'm going to bid over. So I'm on the, I'm off of work from this accident, and the bids pass me up, and I get back to work. And it was crazy too, man, because I'm going to the hospital and I'm seeing the doctors and they're doing laser treatments and stuff after all this, dead skin falls off. And he's like, how are you feeling? And I'm like, yeah, I feel pretty good. They get done with the laser treatment, and he goes, okay, so you're ready to go back to work. And I go, yeah, I think so, man. When? And he goes, tomorrow. Dude, I got that feeling all over again, bro. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I go, I can't.
Yeah.
And he goes, what? He goes, don't you want to go back to work? And I want to say no. And I go, dude, I go, you don't understand. I've been out of work for 5 months. Like, I'm a part of daily life now. Yeah. I get up, I make the kids breakfast. I take them to school, and me and my wife go do shit all the time now, man. Like, I can't just be like, back to work, babe. So I take another week. I have to burn my time. I burn my time. I take a week, and I get back to work. And for me, yeah, dude, like, I need to get back on that horse. I need to actually get this fear behind me, man. I need to prove myself that I can do this. So I show up, and they're like, hey, why don't you go meet the transmission guys? They're splicing these potheads over there at some station. And I'm like, what? And they go, yeah, you said you wanted to go to transmission, right? And I go, yeah, I did, but things are kind of different now. And they're like, oh, no, it's all good. Just go over there. So I'm driving over there, bro. And I'm white knuckling the steering wheel, like, just drive this thing home, right? Driving this pie wagon. I'm like, just drive home. I show up there to the job site, and I'm like, what are they doing? Why are they sending me here? Like, are they trying to put me on a shelf? Like, dude, I'm ready for work. They're trying to wrap me in a bubble. So I go back and I tell them, like, they go, oh yeah, you can just report over there now. Report to transmission tomorrow? Like, not here in my district with my brothers? Yeah, you can just report there. I'm like, I'm not gonna. I don't need that. Like, I need to prove that I can still do this. You don't understand. So they gave me some jobs, it's like switch and dip pad mounts, transition splices. I'm like, this is fucking cake, bro. Like, I don't need this shit. Like, give me some hot work, so, I mean, whatever. I'm going to do the job, right? They give me a job. I'm going to do it. So I'm starting to do this job, and I'm there for like a week. And then they're like, hey, we need somebody to run a crew. Like, what crew? Oh, the cable crew, the foreman's going to somewhere else, and we need somebody to fill a spot. Okay, I'll do that, right? Now for me, I'm doing my uncle a favor, right? His district is running short on supervisors, so I'll fill that position for him. But the whole time, I'm like, dude, I'm put on the shelf, man, Bids open up, and I bid, and for me, it was like, also, we're kind of having the conversation earlier about, the restoration from the fires and stuff. It's like, I want to get out there, bro. I want to put my skills to use. And I'm not saying that what we do in transmission isn't worth anything, because we have a huge project that we have to restore, a main circuit going into downtown LA. But yeah, I feel like I never really got over that hump, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
I still feel like there's something to prove to yourself, and kind of just work it out of you a little bit.
I did, but now I think it's kind of past me. You know, maybe it's part of that arrogance, that ego,
or just maturity. Like you just at peace with it. Like, you're telling your story. So maybe it's a new way of healing and coping. Maybe it's not meant to be to get back in there and do that specific job. Maybe this is the mature Daniel where you're trying to share your message so it impacts people.
Yeah, I think so, man. And I think there's a part of that is completely true, because me and my wife have been having the conversation. Because, I mean, for me, I don't want to stay in transmission the whole time or whatever. Like, the whole part of this job is to promote, right? Share your skills, share your knowledge, right? I want to promote. And one of the things that we had talked about was getting in with the safety section. You know, there's at our union meetings, we talk about having a support group, right? Like I said, we have the peer volunteer program, where there's a support group where guys are struggling with abuse, so substance abuses and stuff like that. But there really isn't one for guys that have been through shit like this, right? Near misses or accidents or, you know, seeing, you know, being on a crew where somebody may have lost their life or lost their hands or blown themselves up, right? So like, well, how do we deal with it? Definitely not the way I dealt with the first one, right? That's not healthy, you know, diving yourself into the bottle, not talking about it, just pushing those fears down or whatever. Like we have to have an outlet, right? And for those safety guys, man, they have a tough job, you know? Every time somebody gets hurt at the smallest level up to somebody losing their life, they show up, dude, you know, and they have to put all the pieces together and they have to drive family members and deliver bad news to family members, bro. It's like, those guys need help too, you know? So that's kind of one of the things that it's been playing in my mind, you know, later on down the line, you know, promote to a foreman position. And then if those guys need help, man, you know, like I've been there, bro. You know, I have no problem talking about it. Obviously, I mean, we're here.
Yeah.
You know, I know what it's like. You know, I've been in that burn center twice. I know the logistics of it. You know, I know what the family needs. Mature Daniel. I always tell guys, don't ever grow up, man.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, in the same boat too. It's I don't know. Still dealing with it. What do you think? Do you think you changed in safety? Yeah, I say this kind of weird. I kind of want to bring it, and I think this is kind of perfect conversation to have. I got to tread lightly because I don't really know how to say it, but I think you can almost get burnout from the guy who keeps cutting corners or taking shortcuts on a crew, if we're on a crew. And then there's like a fine line to toe that you're being extra safe. And I say that with all respect, but because there's a nice little balance. And I think the best crews that I've been on, there's good communication and there's a good tailgate, job briefing, whatever you want to call it. And then the day just kind of flows. But you could kind of go either way. I don't know if that makes sense to you, or if you can kind of add to it.
It definitely does, man. And you see it, and there's kind of guys that have that reputation, you know, like, what circuit are we working on? The helper's like, I don't know. Well, where's your tailgate? We call them tailgates.
Yeah.
Where's your tailgate form? We didn't have one. Well, where's the senior? He's in the hole. So you don't know what circuit we're working on. There wasn't a meeting. Like, what are we doing? And I mean, definitely that was one of the situations, you know, and there's guys like that, right? And you try and like, dude, this is why we don't just rush in and do this thing, you know, because of shit like this.
Yeah.
But then there's a certain point where too much, I don't know. I don't think so. You know, maybe I used to, but, you know, I heard one guy say a long time ago, he said, if you take care of your pennies, your dollars will take care of yourselves, right? I'm like, oh, this is talking about investing money. But then I put it towards safety, right? And if you take care of the smallest things, then the bigger things will just take care of themselves, you know? And I made a comment on one of Ryan Lucas's, the Powerline podcast posts, and somebody's like, oh, well, nobody wants the fucking safety queen or whatever. And I was just like, whatever, man. You know, sometimes you have to have that guy, you know, like, hey, dude, don't, like, let me back you up from that truck. Or, dude, like I tell guys all the time, dude, we're not wearing the right gloves for the job we're doing. And it's not like hot work or nothing. It's just like working material or the hand line, right? Like, dude, those aren't the right gloves. Like, dude, those heat waves, like the department doesn't approve those, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're not supposed to be wearing those, dude. Like, oh, well, you know, they look cool. Yeah, they look cool. But are they tested? Because the cheapest glasses that we have are the ones I was wearing, bro, and I won't wear anything else. You know, I mean, there's a reason. Like, I think, you know, we were working before this accident, and I had an apprentice, and we were jumping out some secondaries, right? And because some secondaries had blown up, and we're going to jump everything out, and I was like, yeah, we're just going to, you know, we'll tap this, do a short tap, and tuck this in the corner. And he's like, well, what if we do this? What if we tap it here, cover it, we only have to do this once. Oh, no, bro, it'd be good, right? And then I stop and I'm like, no, man, you're right. You're right, dude. You know, because it just takes one person to speak up. And I put myself back in that first time I got burned, right? Like, he's speaking up for a reason because he has a concern, right? And maybe he's right. And I don't want to have something happen and be like, damn, bro, we should have done it your way. You know, let's go for it, man. You know, and not only that, like, it gives him the courage to speak up next time he thinks something doesn't feel right, right? That's just going to make him a better journeyman down the way. You know, and that's just going to make me a better journeyman too, because like, I don't have to have, you know, they just, yeah, bro, check me, man. You know, if I'm doing something wrong, check me, dude, because I would hope you would give me that respect, right? Because I don't want you to get hurt, and I know you don't want me to get hurt.
Yeah. I kind of pitched that question. I kind of shot myself in the foot pitching it as, I don't know how it came out, but I didn't want to come out as taking shortcuts or incentivizing not being safe. But I think at a point, and I'm having this conversation outside the podcast, having with safety professionals, is there a thing as safety burnout in the sense of like, are we overconsumed and then we get so overconsumed that we're not communicating about it? And maybe for your instance, like you said, you moved to another phase, you didn't communicate it. Was that necessarily the what I'm referring to? No, but there's examples too where there's just a lot going on. So how do we make it more better or keep the conversations going? Or is it, you know, that's kind of where I was leaning to. So I don't know if it came out wrong. And
are you kind of like saying or asking like if, you know, there's so much red tape that it's hard to kind of get the job done sometimes? Or
I think so. I think I'm kind of working about it. Maybe just looking for your opinion. You know, I'm not saying be unsafe or not go with the work procedure. I'm just saying, can we be talking more about what it might look like? I don't know. I could be going the wrong path.
Well, I mean, we always talk about our safety rule book, right? We always say that book's written in blood.
Yeah.
And the only reason we have new procedures and new safety rules is because something happens, you know, like I have the balaclava, right? I had one that night and it wasn't required, right? What was required for the job? 2 layers of FR,
yeah.
Hard hat, face shield, safety glasses, rubber gloves. So we had the bare minimum, right? But now I get blown up, my face gets 3rd-degree burns, and oh, look at, there's this new memo saying that if you're going to do underground switching, you have to wear the balaclava. Well, there's a reason I didn't wear it, because it's uncomfortable and it, you know, restricts your breathing a little bit. You know, it makes work harder. But I mean, why do we have to double belt? And, you know, why do we have to say belted all the time now? Because, you know, when we used to free climb, well, I never used to free climb, but when guys used to free climb, guys would fall off the pole. Well, how do we stop guys from falling off the pole? Well, we always have to stay belted. Okay, well, it's cumbersome and it's a pain in the ass, and guys are still falling off the pole. What are we going to do? Well, let's get them cinch locks, right? Okay, well, now it's hard to climb over obstacles and stuff like that, but does it still happen? Yes, you know, but I don't know. I mean, I think the incentive you brought up, incentive for safety. I mean, and the incentive should be going home. You know, going home without injury. And we talk about, you know, a lot that we don't have safety barbecues anymore. They used to give us, you know, tools or whatever. It's like, well, we don't want to incentivize safety, right? We just want you to be safe.
Culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to keep working that question and just that perspective. I've been asking it to safety professionals, alignment. I'm trying to make it sound right. Obviously, it's got some work cut out to do, but I think as long as we're talking about safety and continue the conversation, you got to be proactive in safety, and we got to keep relooking at things. Advances, technologies are kind of coming into play. New work techniques, new work methods, new safety equipment, new equipment in general. So I think always having conversation, whether it's leadership, safety, the crews, always kind of conversing, keeping the open door. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a program. It's called the near miss program. Right? If you have a near miss, you can fill out a form and talk about it, and they'll bring it up in the safety in the safety meetings. When was the last time I've heard a near miss? It's been years, right? Why? Guys aren't talking about it. I mean, but there's near misses that happen all the time, I'm sure. You know, but I mean, I think the more we talk about it, the more we can learn, right? The less it'll happen. the less we'll have injuries. The more morale will be up and more management will be happy and take care of their employees or whatever. I mean, I don't know. Who knows, dude? I just like to turn a wrench, bro.
Yeah, I got you. Right on, man. Man, great story. I appreciate you for being so transparent, open, man, and vulnerable too. Yeah. Definitely good conversation. I took a bullet point from this article. It's called seven sentences I wish I read sooner. It says, these hard times, this pain, these lessons today, they'll be your strength, your awareness, your blessing. Daniel, I wanted to know if you feel like this incident is part of your strength now.
Yeah, I think it definitely is, man. On a bunch of different levels. I think, just starting off that initial night, man, like when I called that guy and asked him how everybody was doing, like it got me to actually talk to a psychiatrist about, my mental problems or my mental pain, it got me to be vulnerable. It got me, it's a hard way to do it, man, but, it got me 5 months at home, to be there every single day. The strengths, like just to be open, man, and I think a lot of guys might see that as a weakness. You got to ask for help, like as a weakness, bro. But for me, that's strength, bro. Right? Strength is admitting, your downfall, your fear, whatever. It brought me to a new life with Christ. I was at home, and my uncle, the fireman that I called that night, he's been a believer for years, man. And he's like, you know why you're still here? And I said, yeah, I gave him work terminology. So the circuit breakers finally opened up. And he goes, no, man, you're here because God kept you alive for a purpose. And my wife is the one that introduced me to Jesus because she was introduced by her aunt. And I started going to church with her, and they started talking about, they go over the scripture of Daniel, the book of Daniel, and how 3 of Daniel's friends got thrown into the fire, right, because they wouldn't worship the king's idol or his statue. And he sends these men down there. They put them in this fiery pit. They, multiplied the heat by 7. And he goes, I thought we threw 3 men down there. There's a 4th one walking around with them. And dude, I heard that in church, bro. It hit me like a ton of bricks, man. Like I was crying, dude. I'm sitting there and crying. Like, dude, you were there, And when you accepted that you weren't going to make it out, like that's when the fire stopped. And for me, it was like, yeah, I got burned. My family went through it. Work went through it. But honestly, at the end, bro, I'm like, to me, it's like I'm unscathed. I came out better. I like to say, like, I'm like a phoenix, man. Forged in fire, bro. Like tempered steel, man. My level of confidence, yeah, like I've been through my hardest days, and falling back on my habits that helped me get through that, dude. Like I said, dude, I used to be almost 300 pounds when I was drinking, and I got into fitness. I used that as part of my therapy, and during that time, I would hit the gym harder, and it transformed my body better, stronger and more lean. And for me, that boosted my confidence, right? Because now I look better, I feel better, I'm more energized, and I don't drink no more. So now I'm there with my family, and I'm present. And talking about all these things with the therapist, like it helped me open up with my wife, dude. Like we're having deeper, real good conversations now, man. Like I don't think a lot of those things would have happened if it wasn't for this. It's sad to say, but I tell guys, man, like, shit's gonna happen. And you could either be the victim Or, you know, you could look at the silver lining and find out, how can I make this into a positive situation? You know? So that's just what I try and do, man. And that's what I take from it.
I got you. Kind of want to shift the conversation, but I wanted to ask you one more question. Hit you hard in the gut. At any point in time after the second incident, did you feel like you were going to go revert back to alcohol?
Never. It was not an option, dude. Actually, one of the guys from work, we were helpers together. We've been working together for over 20 years, man. And he asked me, dude, he's like, bro, everybody was like, are you going to fall back? Are you going to drink? I go, dude, it was not an option. When I was at the hospital, they were giving me pain medicine. And finally, after like the second day, I was like, what are you guys giving me? They're like, just take these and it'll deal with the pain. And I'm like, what is this? And they go, it's Percocets. And I go, I don't want them. And they go, well, what about your pain? I go, I don't know. Like, what else do you have? And they said, we have Tylenol. I said, then give me Tylenol because I can't take that. And then there was one point after the first skin graft, they were going to start removing, it was cadaver skin. The first skin graft surgery was cadaver skin. They were going to peel it off. So they're like, yeah, take these pills. I go, I'm not taking the pills. So then they start ripping it off, and dude, it was immense pain. So then they had to give me an IV drug. And the feeling I got from that, dude, it was like, you know, you see the people shooting up in the movies in this cloud, bro, and it's exactly what it was, right? And it scared me, dude, because it felt awesome. And I told him, I go, don't give me that again. Don't give me Percocets. When they sent me home, they were going to write me a prescription. And I said, I don't want it. Because I knew I would abuse it, dude. I already knew it. Yeah, but it still wasn't an option, dude. Like for me, it was like, I still tell myself every day, like I have that feeling like, you know, Super Bowl's coming up, dude. You know, but it's not an option for me. And that's one of the things that I take away from my sobriety, dude, is like when I quit drinking, my son just turned 2 years old and he's never seen me with a drink in my hand, dude. You know, I take a lot of pride in that. My daughter was little. She had just turned 6, so she might remember. But my son's never seen me like that, you know, and I made a promise to them and I made a promise to myself. And I made a promise to my wife and my kids. You know, I can't. Dude, it was never an option. Sorry, long story short.
No, you're good, man. It's your podcast. Here's your message. I kind of want to shift here. You're not 300 pounds anymore. The skin graft looks good, man. You're transformed 180 degrees, man. Can you talk about that journey? You talk about your purpose. Sounds like purpose of faith. Being present as a husband and dad, and as a example at work, and then now you're kind of mentoring, life coaching, and working people through some fitness goals too, man. You talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, dude, it started 14 years ago. 14 years ago today, when I finally decided that I couldn't have any more alcohol. You know, after I quit drinking, I changed my eating style a little bit. You know, because I would drink. I'd go and buy, you know, the breakfast burrito or the bacon and eggs and French toast, all this shit. And I would eat it again for lunch and drink in a vicious cycle. Once I quit drinking, I changed my eating style. Dude, I lost 60 pounds. Like I wasn't hitting the gym or nothing. I lost 60 pounds over like 6 months and then kind of changed the way I was eating back to normal, right? I gained like another 20. So now I'm sitting at like 260 pounds. I'm sober, right? Which is still good. I'm healthier, but still having the weight issue at work. I would go and try and get my medical card, you know, for your commercial license re-upped, and they would measure my neck and be like, well, you know, how do you sleep?
Like a baby.
Like a baby. And my wife's like,
work hard.
You wake up like 3 or 4 times a night not breathing. So they were threatening to put me on pull my license because I was overweight, right? The BMI was too high, and I would skip them and go pay for the medical.
Bro, I got a big ass neck. They always try to threaten me with that.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I'm just a thick neck. You're good, sorry.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, I mean, it was just from there. It was just kind of like whatever. But like I said, man, my wife and I were gonna have our wedding anniversary. You know, we didn't have a real wedding at all. But she was just like, you know, my habits are the family's habits. You know, so I'd eat like shit and all this extra junk food, and they would do it too. So it wasn't like my wife is like super thin or nothing like that, right? She's a thick woman. I love her to death, regardless. But she was like, if we're gonna do this wedding and photos and dress, like I want to look good, we're gonna look good. So we joined the gym together and we lost a bunch of weight. And guys were asking me the whole time, like, dude, what are you doing? Some people thought I was sick because the weight just went away, dude. Like I was just meal prepping, you know, working out 5-6 days a week, non-negotiable, like we said, you know, and it was a different level of confidence, different level of energy, and then purpose, man. Like guys are asking me, like, what are you doing, bro? How are you doing it? So I tell guys, like, dude, you have to eat like this, you know, certain foods. Back then it was horrible because the diet was so restricted from that gym. But now I'm like, I track macros. So I'm just tell guys, like, if it fits in your macros, bro, you can eat it. You want to have a bag of chips or a hamburger, you put it in the app, right? And then you work around that. And part of that accident was like another thing, right? Like I said, had this new sense of purpose. My uncle told me, you're here for a purpose. And my wife and I had went out to Coachella a couple of years ago, and guys were like hitting me up, like total strangers, like, bro, you're ripped, you're jacked. And I was just like, me? Okay, thanks, dude. So then I was posting on Instagram, and a coach hit me up. You know, like I reposted one of his stories. He hits me in the DMs, and I've been following him for a while, Row Motivational, you know, and I go, dude, like I want to help people. Like your story, your transformation, you know, it helped me. I know how to work out. Like I'm a pretty fit dude. I don't know how to show other people. I don't know how to teach them. Okay, so, you know, I hire him as my business coach, you know, whatever, and he gets me even into better shape. You know, he got me ripped, dude. I was 295, 297 pounds. And then after I joined his program, I got down to 255, shredded, like the most shredded guy anywhere, everywhere. But my energy level was low, you know, like it was kind of affecting my work, you know, because I'd be tired, you know, low calories, you know, like no energy, right? So kind of just added a little bit of weight back, you know, like right now I'm at like 175, but yeah, man, you know, the guys are still asking me, dude, like, what do you do? And so that's why I hired the coach, man, like show me what to do. So guys have problems, you know, like, and I know how it is, you know, at work, bro. It's like you're going to hit the 7-Eleven on the way to the job site. You know, you're going to get like, some hot dog rollers and a couple Red Bulls.
Tornadoes.
So I don't. Oh, is that what they're called?
Yeah, fried, whatever.
Yeah, dude. You
Nasty.
know, some chew or whatever, and that's going to get me through the day. You know, and I don't have time. You know, I don't know what to do. Like, yeah, I get it, bro. We're busy. We have to make time. You know, we talked about, you know, how much we want to be at work to provide and get to, you know, have the nice things, but you know, you have to take some time out, you know, for yourself, for your family, to rest. And guys, I mean, I say rest relatively light because, you know, I go to bed at 10, I get up at 2:45, you know, 6 days a week. Can I get more rest? Yeah, absolutely. Should I? Yeah, probably. But to me, that's just another test, bro. You know, like, how hard can I go? And when I need it, I take it. You know, I'm not saying I don't take naps. I'm not saying I don't sleep in on Sunday, which I didn't, but now I do. So yeah, man, like, you know, and I get, okay, dude, so what's your problem? I don't have time to meal prep. Okay, well, let's how much are you spending at work? Right? How many times do you eat out lunch? How many times do you eat, you know, like, what are you spending on alcohol? You know, what's your bar tab like on a Friday night? Okay, so let's just say in a week you spend $300-400 on buying lunch and the bar tab. Let's just say you took that $300 and you ordered a meal prep, right? They're going to send you 15 meals to your house. right? It's probably cheaper than $300 you're going to spend. You don't have to worry about finding time meal prepping, right? You can still eat foods that are going to fit within your calories or your macros, right? You just eat that food, go on a walk during your lunch. Dude, you'll lose weight. Trust me, you will. Oh, dude, I'm tired and this and that. Okay, well, take your time, bro. Like you have to take some time somewhere. So, dude, I would hear all the excuses because I made all the excuses. I know all the excuses. I made them. I'm not saying it's impossible, and I'm not saying it's going to be easy for anybody. It's hard. It's work. It takes dedication. But, dude, it's worth it, man. Like I said, the feeling that you get when you look better, you feel better. Your confidence levels up. It's so weird, man. People treat you different, dude.
Albert Einstein said, I must be willing to give up who I am in order to become what I want to be. I want to ask you, what version are you, Daniel, today, sitting here? Because I can't picture. I know I see your photos on Instagram, and you were 300 pounds, man. It just looks like a different person.
Yeah, what's funny is I wrote something like that on my Instagram story this morning, man. I don't know. I'm definitely better than I was 14 years ago. I'm better than I was a year ago. I'm better than I was last week. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. There's still things that I lack, I believe, we're human, not everything's going to be perfect. I'm not saying, your diet has to be on point. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm not talking about skipping a workout, dude. I'm talking about like, how do you treat other people, right? Like, how are you going to act when things don't go your way, or am I going to be able to put my shit aside if my wife needs me to be there, right? Like, because I've been a pretty selfish person my whole life, even through this whole transformation, right? Like, I can't skip a workout, babe, or we can't go do that, or we want to go out to go have dinner, and I'm show up with a meal prep,
That guy.
Yeah. There's still there's lots of room to grow, man, and there's things that I could see myself getting into. It's like, dude, do I really want to go that direction? Like, how is that going to come? How am I going to feel about myself, right? Like, but yeah, you have to give up some things, man, in order to become who you want. Definitely.
Yeah. Like you said, the Phoenix, rise of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
You got any tips? I think, we give the excuse. It's always hard. It's convenience time. I think the first time I seen someone have a microwave in a bucket truck in that left driver's side bin when the inverter's at was like, it's a little microwave. It was a game changer. No more cheeseburgers, no more frozen burritos. Like you said, you can be able to meal prep. No more cold food. No more Lyman microwave, which was the heater defroster, turn on full blast.
Put a can on the engine block.
Shit? Yeah. I know underground van, it gets a little easier. There's a little more space, a lot more receptacles, outlets going on. So
yeah.
What kind of tips you got for some of the guys?
Dude, I laugh, bro, because I got an air fryer on my desk. I got one in 2 pie wagons at work. I think it's easy to just, be like, hey man, like, to fall in with the crowd. Like, you're gonna have to separate yourself a little. I think as far as meals, take what's convenient, right? Take what you can, prioritize protein. Definitely. Prioritize protein, like, pack a salad, high protein. If you're going to make a sandwich, dude, pack it with turkey, lean proteins. If you can have a microwave or something like that in your truck, dude, get one. They have these little, they look, I don't know, like the size of a DVD player or something like that. You plug it into the 12 volt and you put your meal prep thing on there and it'll heat your food up. It takes like an hour or two, but you plug it in the morning, your food's going to be hot by lunch.
Not in a plastic.
No, I get the glassware.
Get the glass.
Yeah, I get the glassware. Easy things, like if you got to go, you have to go and hit like the 7-Eleven, like, dude, get a protein bar, something that's got, at least 15, 20 grams of protein. Stay away from the sodas, right? Stay away from the hot dogs. If you have to go eat out, I tell guys all the time, like, bro, what if I have to go, eat out or something? Like, you're going to just have to make conscious decisions there, right? Do you need the large French fries? Get 2 chicken sandwiches. Do they have to be fried chicken sandwiches? No, get 2 grilled chicken sandwiches, right? Skip the French fries, get a Diet Coke or a water. Like I said, or you can just hire a meal prep company to send your food right to your door.
Shout out Factor.
I haven't tried it, man.
It's simple. It's easy to the door. It's easy.
Dude, I had one guy that I was working with on the East Coast, dude, and that was his thing, right? He's like, bro, I don't have time to meal prep. My wife cooks like this, and I can't ask her to cook 2 dinners. I get it. My wife won't either. And that's what he did, man. He got Factors, dude, and he lost like 40 pounds. Yeah. He's like, I don't really have time to work out. Like he'll go on walks during his lunch breaks. Dude, he lost 40 pounds. I mean, and I get it, like you want to hang out, relax during lunch. But I mean, how long are your lunches? An hour? You go for a walk for 20 minutes. You can get a mile in 20 minutes, sit there, eat your food in 10. You still got 20, 30 minutes to chill out, right? Scroll or whatever. Listen to a podcast where you're going on a walk, man.
Listen to this podcast.
Listen to this one, Element.
Power
Element, baby.
That's right, man. Dope, man. I'll throw a tip in there. If you're walking, do a rucksack. I got mine. I've been doing it for about 2 years. I love it. 50 pounds. I get after it. It's dope. Cool, man. Let's shift. You've done great so far. I kind of want to have some fun. You cool with that, man?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a pause with producer Paul. Kind of just shake things up as we wind down here. Truett Haynes at @just_Truett, son of Cameron Haynes, a couple days ago reclaimed the most pull-ups in 24 hours, tallying up 10,001. He helped raise $35,000 for the Miracle Foundation, surpassing Doug Martin, who completed 9,250 pull-ups. Daniel, this was a Guinness Book of World Records. You got any Guinness Book of World Records coming up in your future here, man?
Me? Nah, man, nothing like that. I saw those videos on Instagram, bro. Like his hands were wrecked. They're swollen and red.
His hands are swollen, yeah.
Yeah. That's nuts, man. Me, I don't know, dude. I just want to be the baddest dude everywhere I go.
Yeah. What do you think about that? 10,000, man. I mean, that's quite the feat.
Dude, I mean, I can do like 9 at the most. I'm not trying to say I'm the most fit dude, but that's a lot, man. That's
some willpower. I think he had it at first. I should have wrote this down. And then I think Goggins was in there a little bit. And it sounds like Truett kind of reclaimed it too. So
you don't know me, son.
Yeah,
the whole time, right?
Dude, yeah, that's insane.
Dude, yeah, I heard that he had beat the record and then still had a bunch of time. And it was like, I'm gonna smash it.
Yeah. David's it's insane. Right on. Here we go. At 59 years old, aerospace engineer from Germany recently emerged from his 320 square foot underwater home in Panama, where he lived for 120 days in an unpressurized environment. Upon surfacing, he was greeted by a representative from the Guinness Book of World Records who certified that he'd set a new world record for living the longest underwater in an unpressurized environment. He did this just to prove that he could do it. The man, Rudiger Coach, broke the previous record of 100 days. Man, what do you think? 120 days underwater? Is this something that you're you got in you?
I don't know, man. Maybe, but not alone.
That's not alone. That's a lot of thinking.
Yeah, dude, it's a lot. Yeah, dude. Honestly, if the oceans, if the water, I mean, he's not sitting in the water, but man, that's too long.
What are you more curious about, the ocean or the space?
Space, dude. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. Definitely. Yeah. The ocean's scary, man.
Yes, I was in the Navy. Yeah, it's fucking scary.
Yeah, dude. I don't like the cold water either.
Yeah.
People are like, dude, you should cold plunge. It's so beneficial. I'm like, fuck that, dude.
I started doing the cold showers. I was like, you know what? I enjoy my warm shower, so I'd rather do a cold plunge so I can enjoy the shower.
Okay.
That's just me.
I mean, I get the sauna. I like the sauna.
Oh, yeah.
I'm used to the heat, bro.
The Phoenix.
No, isolation is, I don't know, man. I've never been isolated like that, Like the guy that I hired for my coach, he was in prison 10 years. I don't know, man. I couldn't do it.
That's wild.
You know what, man? I mean, I'm okay. Like my wife, she likes to talk some shit. I'm okay with being alone, but I don't want to feel lonely.
Yeah, I think the trendy word solitude. That's kind of reason why I do my rucks, my hikes. It's by myself and my dog, and it's just I listen to podcasts, I reflect.
Yeah.
There's a good opportunity to just kind of, I don't know, find that inner strength for me. So that if you look at it, you can look at it as being a loner or solitude, and I think how you look at it. Really.
Yeah, solitude's good. You can find some clarity in things. Especially like rucking or working out. For me, that's part of it, man. Hit a workout and you get into flow state, man. You just work through things. You get anxiety out. For me, yeah, every morning, dude, I'm reading. 10, 15 minutes, journaling.
Dude,
solitude.
I found something cool. Kind of. I just seen it yesterday, actually, too. So I've been going hard in golfing for the past year, and I heard something that made perfect sense last night, and you could use it if you want, but it said, obviously golf's going to bring out some emotions, but it said, you're not good enough to get angry, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
then
that could,
enough to get angry.
Yeah, you can kind of apply that anywhere and just kind of humble yourself. Like, yeah, you know what? I'm not good enough at golf to be angry at this or be frustrated or be emotional about it.
Yeah, I mean that's when character starts to break. You let things get to you. Yeah, things are gonna happen, but make your rational decisions.
Yeah, right on. Daniel, man, you got anything else? We start wrapping this up here. What you got, man?
If anybody wants to follow me on Instagram, man, my Instagram is reps and double time. Just the way it sounds, nothing abbreviated or shortened up. If you guys got questions or, something you're going through, maybe I'm your guy. Maybe you want to hit me up, right? Maybe you want to get some stuff off your shoulders. Maybe you want to make a little, body transformation. Maybe I got problems with substance abuse. I've been through a lot of these things, and if it's not me, somebody else has. Reach out, man. Reach out to somebody. Get the help somewhere. There's plenty of people that have been through what you're going through, man. So
I appreciate it, man. And you got a good page. You're pretty vulnerable. Yeah, man. And you get after it too. You show your meals. You show the gym. You show it all, man. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool, man. Did you have fun? What'd you think?
Yeah, man. That's great.
Appreciate you, man.
It's great. Thank you.
All right. You got any music for me? There you go. All right, cool. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Thanks, Daniel Spencer. Give him a follow. And if you're listening to this, go message him right now. Let him know you enjoyed his message, his story. I think that vulnerability and just that transparency in his message and it means the world. It means the world to the trade, and I think it's a step in the right direction of having better conversations. So, all right, guys, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, share this episode too, please. It helps us so much. All right, I want to thank our promotional partners, Total Safety, Milwaukee Tool, and Klein Tools. Shout out to IBW Look 47, Irene. Thanks for running the cameras. All right, guys, catch you in the next one.